thought would never fall. I mean, because it was so bananas, and yet here we are. And she's just...
Since the Marina Mabry trade, and she has stepped up her game in that
Caitlin Clark for Indiana, who has been terrific, the #1 overall pick, who has been packing buildings all across the U.S.
Ever wondered what it takes to turn a $60 million deal into $2 billion? The answer might surprise you. It's not just about numbers. It's about talent, controversy, and one rookie who's got everyone talking. Let's break down how Caitlin Clark is changing the game on and off the court. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now back to the video. Do you think you are an authority on the impact of Caitlin Clark on women's basketball? Think about it again. Nobody saw this rookie's story taking such an unexpected turn. What statement made by a well-known media figure is currently backfiring? Let's talk about famed sportscaster Molly Qerim, who recently found herself in hot water after remarks she made regarding Caitlin Clark. Qerim gave a direct evaluation on Clark's suitability for the Olympic team. She went one step further and declared that selecting Clark based just on her marketing prowess rather than her true abilities would mock the women's game. And to top it all off, Clark's recent performances have won over her critics into believers rather than merely placating them. On the court, the rookie sensation has been astounding everyone with his record-breaking and stunning performances. The way Clark emerges as the underdog hero who disproves everyone is like watching a real-life sports film. And we're not just talking about die-hard fans who have jumped on the bandwagon. It's even beginning to register with the other players. WNBA veteran Sophie Cunningham lavished praise on the rookie class, singling out Clark for special recognition. She made a point of mentioning how the younger players' energy has rejuvenated the league as a whole, and how the league has profited from that. I get your question. Why is it crucial to focus on just one player? Well, it's not just about Clark. Her accomplishment is having a cascading effect on the entire Women's National Basketball Association. Those who were uninterested in women's basketball are suddenly tuning in to see why all the buzz is about it. Let's not pretend that this is just Clark's win. I can rejoice with everyone who has ever felt unworthy, unmarketable, or unready for the major leagues. On the biggest stage possible, Clark is proving that intelligence overcomes uncertainty. Wait a moment, there's more to the story. Resolving doubters is just one of the numerous factors contributing to Clark's rise. Changing the game's rules from within is the key. Her personality, court presence, and playing style have elevated her to a level never seen in a WNBA star. The most surprising part is that her youth, distinct style, and media appeal, factors that at first made some people reject her, are now precisely what are making her a success. It's as though Clark transformed those dubious comments into something that stoked her enthusiasm for basketball. What does this mean for women's basketball as a sport in the future? Are we seeing the dawn of a new era where rookies may have an instant impact on their team and the league as a whole?
since the Marina Mabry trade, and she has stepped up her game in that opportunity. Caitlin Clark for three, rattles it around for her first deep.
Announcing, I am watching because, oh, I love her to death.
What impact will this have on the power dynamics between players, media, and league officials? Just when it seemed like things were going out of control with the Clark situation, a significant figure in the media steps into the picture. Why is this WNBA veteran casting doubt on the league's management of its newest sensation, so endangering her credibility? The respected sportscaster Cindy Brunson fills in. She doesn't hesitate to express her opinions. A lot of controversy has resulted from Caitlin Clark, and the Indiana Fever's historic demand that the WNBA issue an apology. Why is Brunson making such a bold statement? It all comes down to being appreciated and acknowledged in the end. When Brunson talks about Clark, she sheds light on how female athletes are generally treated. She says, "These women are really incredible athletes. They deserve our highest respect, our whole attention, and our steadfast support." But this is when the interesting part starts. Brunson isn't restricting his demands to just one player or team. The main idea is to change the entire game. She is battling antiquated narratives and persistent misconceptions regarding women's sports in an attempt to alter public opinion. Remind yourself of that. More than just the score is impacted when a dominant player like Clark joins the game. It influences people's beliefs. Because of it, people are forced to sit up and pay attention, and Brunson is making the most of that very fact. She says, "Look at what Clark is doing. Her work is remarkably altering our expectations. It's time to take action and demand real change." It appears that Brunson is trying to get better treatment off the court by using Clark's on-court performance as leverage. There are other people participating than Clark. Brunson's stance is igniting a wider conversation about the several underappreciated and exceptional women in the WNBA. She says, "If we can get it right for Clark, we can get it right for everyone." What time is ideal? Why has Brunson chosen this particular moment to speak up? The reason being that Clark's ascendancy has set off a perfect storm. Your talent, fan base, and media exposure are all growing. The moment has come to demand that the league act and treat its players with the respect they deserve. Let's face it, there is a certain risk associated with making such a public admission. There's a risk to Brunson's reputation in the neighborhood. Even though it may be uncomfortable, she is doubting the status quo. Her conviction that it is worthy is apparent, though. She's taking a chance, believing that if she speaks up, women's basketball will become more successful than it has ever been. So what does this mean for the WNBA's long-term survival? Consider a domino game. In the event that Brunson's demand gains traction, some significant changes might follow. Reforms that could be implemented include better league promotion, increased player respect, and maybe even new contract arrangements or media attention to women's sports.
I thought would never fall. I mean, because it was so bananas, and yet here we are. And she's just one of several that you get excited about watching night in and night out.
I love it. I try to soak in every single environment before the national anthem and really realize how grateful I am.
One factor is what the league may or may not do. The possible activities of the supporters are important factors to take into account here. Brunson is issuing a call to arms with his posture. She wants her audience to realize that you are a voice. We can accomplish more if you can assist us. Such fan support could have a significant effect in this social media age. As Brunson's audacious stance draws to an end, another voice enters the battle. This critic's examination of the WNBA is about to upend everything you think you know about women's basketball. Carly Brew just made a shocking admission that has gone viral. She didn't believe Stephen A. Smith when he suggested that the WNBA needed to be saved. Conversely, she has been emphasizing something that has been obvious to us from the beginning. Brew stated, "The W just needed to be promoted. It didn't need to be saved. The product has never been the problem. It has always been the promotion." This has some substance. It is well supported by numbers. There has been a significant shift with regard to WNBA media rights. I want to be clear about this. Their $60 million worth has skyrocketed to an incredible $2 billion. It's not just growth, it's an explosion. And you're curious about who the main attraction is? All right, Caitlin Clark, I get it. Hold on a moment. This isn't just about one player stirring things up. Thanks to Clark's rise, a long-simmering issue is finally receiving some attention. Some believe a miracle is needed to salvage the WNBA, which is in serious financial trouble. Brew and his supporters contend, on the other hand, that the league was never weak and only required a loudmouth. Is this the only aspect of it? Does Clark really need to save women's basketball? Or is she just the catalyst for people to start paying attention? In actuality, a mix of the two is probably at play. Although Clark is an extremely talented player, her impact goes well beyond the court. Remind yourself of that. Clark is not just gaining points, he is transforming the discourse. Because of her, those who had not been interested in women's basketball are now doing so. And that emphasis too?
Caitlin Clark for Indiana, who has been terrific, the #1 overall pick, who has been packing buildings all across the U.S.
I think the future of the WNBA is white hot.
Where Caitlin Clark notched the first triple-double ever by a WNBA rookie and the first in Fever franchise history.
The league is observing a clear relationship between the financial benefit. But this is when the interesting part starts. Clark's accomplishments show that women's basketball has more promise than just basketball. It draws attention to the fact that the story has not been sufficiently covered by the media. For a very long time, exceptional players have performed incredible things on the court. Skill was always present. It would have been good to have a spotlight. With Clark bringing attention to the game, people are starting to realize what they've been missing. Now it seems as though someone flipped on the lights after they had been off for much too long. Consequently, we are watching a game that is as fast-paced, skillfully executed, and exciting as the men's game. But let's be honest, this place isn't only about basketball. It concerns the overall value of women's athletics. The questions raised by Clark's story are not easy ones. Why did no one notice the WNBA until after one player's phenomenal rise to prominence? Why wasn't the league getting the credit it deserved in the past? These questions are important, even though they could seem disturbing. They are making us think about the wider picture of the sports media landscape. More is at risk than just selecting the winning group or individual. A struggle for control over who gets to write the story and who gets sponsored is taking place. Clark's accomplishment smashes preconceptions and biases to bits. She is proving that fans will follow women's sports when they are given the credit they so richly deserve. They intend to buy tickets in advance. They are going to watch it. They will invest money in it above all else. That deal for media rights for $2,000, it's a victory not just for the WNBA. This has to be heard by the entire sports community. This demonstrates that when women's sports are properly promoted, there is a market for them. The money is visible to you. The excitement is palpable. So what are our options? The million-dollar or perhaps billion-dollar question is, in fact, that one. The story of Clark is just the introduction. The league, the press, and the fans need to keep up the pace now that it has opened the door. Caitlin Clark is not just altering the rules, but also rewriting them as she makes her way through the WNBA. A fresh outlook on women's basketball is emerging as a result of this rookie's outstanding performance. She is not only winning games, but also gaining her opponents' hearts and minds. The unfortunate issue is that Clark's accomplishment is pointing to something far more important. It's not like there has never been excitement in women's sports. All they needed was the spotlight. Clark turned on the light, and now everyone can see it. There are multiple participants in this. Every athlete who has received little attention is the focus of the narrative. It's about seeking equality and speaking out against discrimination. Clark's performance shows how everything can change when gifted people are given the chance to shine. So what are our options? We make that choice. Can we continue to make this progress? Still, are we going to let it go? It's our time to take the initiative now.